Please take your seats quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Hi guys, and welcome to 1minutetennis.com. In today's session I want to talk to you about the volley, and I want to show you a wrist position and a footwork position which, when you combine them, gives you tremendous strength in the swing of the volley and gives you tremendous power on your volley. So I'd like to start by talking about the grip. Now, we know when we volley we want to have a continental or chopper grip. The continental or chopper grip is easy to find by placing the racket at 90 degrees to the body, placing it away from the right shoulder, and then just grasping the racket. And this will be a perfect chopper grip. The reason this grip is good for the volley is that it naturally means that the racket angle is in the right place for the ball, whether the ball is high, medium or low. See how the racket is naturally opening up on the low balls, but is closing a little on the medium or higher balls. It's also great for feel because with the chopper or continental grip, then the position of my hand, the palm of my hand, is exactly the same as the position of the racket head. Whereas with any other grip, the racket head is pointing in a different direction to the palm of the hand. And so its feel and touch shots are much easier as I can use my hand to guide the ball and the racket just follows. But as well as the correct grip, there's also the wrist position. Now, most of the people watching this video will play the volley with a neutral wrist, and we want to have a slightly extended wrist for more strength on the volley. You see, with my wrist position, I can have a neutral wrist, I can have flexion, and I can have extension. When the wrist is in neutral, then the arm is reasonably strong. When my wrist is in flexion, then the wrist position is very weak. If I tried to play a volley that way, I'm actually going to hurt myself, never mind not control the ball. But if I go to extension, then my wrist is much, much stronger. If you think about supporting weight, I could support more weight this way and very little that way. But we don't want to have full extension, because with full extension in this position here, then the wrist is kind of locked and the arm is locked. It feels mechanical. So we want to have about halfway, 30-40% into extension. It's called semi-dorsal flexion. So neutral, full flexion, somewhere in between the two. And this extended position applies to both forehand and backhand volleys. And when I volley with the slightly extended wrist, then suddenly the racket feels incredibly stable in my hand. The chances of the racket buckling on an off-center impact become very small, and I have much more strength in the racket and will hit more solidly and more cleanly. So the first thing to establish is having slight extension in your wrist, and you'll have a stronger and better volley immediately. But now we need to look at the footwork. And when we examine the footwork of the volley, we have to understand that there's really two situations when you're going to volley from. One is where there's virtually no footwork and you're going to play an open stance volley, and really what we're looking at here is a deflection because there's no time and the ball is upon you very quickly. But most of the time you do have time, even though it's a short amount of time because the volley is the fastest part of the game. We've got less space between us and the ball. There's still time to actually get sideways and forwards, and so the correct volley movement wants to be sideways and forwards. To make this happen in the quickest possible time, you must focus on the back foot, not the front foot. See, if I step forwards here, I'm kind of out of balance. But if I simply turn my back foot as I take the racket back, then this step is perfectly natural. It's almost impossible not to make the correct step because I'd be likely to fall over. So look, I take the racket back a little bit for the volley, I turn, and the footwork is natural. A little movement, turn, and the footwork is natural. So for the backhand volley, I pivot the left foot and the right foot naturally goes forwards. For the forehand volley, I pivot the right foot and the left foot naturally goes forwards. And the extension of the wrist and the rotation of the back foot is essential in all volleys, but especially at recreational level. The pros will close the net down better than almost any recreational player because they're not frightened of the lob. If they lob, then they will run back and move back with incredible speed. But in recreational level, it doesn't really happen that way. So the players tend to have to volley from a little further back and maybe a little bit slower moving in. And so we often get volleys in recreational tennis from this area around here rather than right on top of the net. And from this area here, with the extended wrist and the pivot of the back foot, then I can control the ball with strength, with power, and get good depth even from the mid-court area. When you add the extended wrist to the correct footwork pattern on the volley, then you'll volley with much more power because you have all of your body weight moving forwards, the rear foot being turned instead of stepping, and this foot is just forwards. I turn, and now I can push faster with more control. So I'm getting my body weight through the ball better and quicker, and also I'm going to have a very, very stable contact with the ball, because when your wrist is in extension, you've added 40 or 50% of physical strength in the wrist, in the grip, and into the swing of the racket. If you like this idea, check out my books on Amazon. We have books on every part of the game, but the Volley Solution book covers this and every other part of the volley. Or for more help with your game, try online coaching. I'm helping players of all ages, all levels, all over the world. It's a great service, it's unique, and it really works. For more information, check out the website or email me. So add power to your volley and strengthen your volley. Use extension, use the pivot of the back foot to create the footwork, and you'll have a better, more aggressive volley from all kinds of positions on the court. Thanks for watching. See you next time for more unique tennis lessons that really work.